welcome back to Novel Nonsense. I'm Tiffany, and we're doing something a little bit different today. So normally Leah and I read books, we review them, we do sort of nonsense things, which is the nonsense in our channel. But today we wanted to interview an author, so here she is. This is Sarah Goehrke. So first I wanted to ask you, before we dive into your book, tell us a little bit about just who you are outside of being an author.
I am a lifelong Clevelander, and every time I try to leave, it doesn't work. I'm 40, and I have tried to leave no fewer than a dozen times. So I went to school I grew up in Mayfield, went to school through there, so awesome, great school system, shout out Mayfield. And then I was like, I'll go super far away for college. Mm-hmm. I went to Southeast Ohio. Yay, Muskingum College. Now a university, but it was college when I went because I'm old. I thought I was going to be a teacher, and it's an incredible university for teachers. So I started as a teacher, planned to teach high school English and direct the plays. And after my first couple of times in classrooms, I thought, you're welcome, future students. I'm going to get out of your classroom all the way. So I double majored in English and theater because I was 19. I didn't need a job. So I double majored in English and theater with a minor in Spanish because I like words. I like them a great deal. And then, obviously, I went to work at a manufacturing company.
Of course, something completely different.
I started as a temp. I was going to get my master's degree in theater and directing at the University of East Anglia in the United Kingdom. I had everything all set, and then Sally Mae wouldn't send me one letter on their letterhead saying I was approved for student loans. So I deferred for 1 year, and then it was 2008 suddenly, and the recession tanked. And my girlfriend, who is incredibly talented and brilliant and had gone for her master's in theater in Ireland, ended up working at Home Depot after her graduation because recession. And so I thought maybe I don't get a master's in theater direction right now, and stayed at the manufacturing company for a year and a half until I got a job as a junior editor at a market research company, which is notable only because A, it put out a great product, and B, I met my eventual correct husband there.
Oh, good.
And I worked there for 6 years, 8 years, a while. I was there for a while. I edited, I wrote studies, and then wrote in my free time while acting in and directing local plays. But I was bummed later because I learned if I had gone for my master's in theater at UEA, I would have been a directing master's student at the time that Matt Smith was an acting master's student, and I could have, theoretically, directed the Doctor in a play or production.
Wow.
So that is the near miss regret of my life because I maybe like Doctor Who. Yeah, so I would have overlapped with Matt Smith, and is the supreme bummer, but life shakes out as it should.
Right.
Stayed in Cleveland, still in Cleveland. And time passed. Had several different careers. I worked for the last decade plus in 3D printing. So I was on the industrial side of additive manufacturing, and I was the editor-in-chief and then managing editor of 2 of the leading publications on the industry side. So I traveled the world, and it was incredible. I was studying cutting-edge technology, reporting on everything from manufacturing floors, talking to people making really genuinely cool things happen in the US and Canada and Europe. I went to Taiwan to deliver a keynote, which was very cool. I had tea service with a German professor and a fellow American. He was an engineer, because we were all speaking at this conference in Taipei, and we had a full tea service at the tea house.
Oh my goodness,
made famous
amazing.
From Studio Ghibli.
That is so cool.
So that was great. So I've keynoted on 3 continents, traveled all over, but I never lost just the love for words. And with additional recessions and chaos and craziness, my position in 3D printing became tenuous, so career changes. Founded my own company in 2018. Started editorial, moved toward also marketing, market positioning. Did a lot with that. And when I completely burned out in 2023, after I was laid off from one company, which was a bummer, I loved my career there and had a great year. And was laid off, and that impacted all of my other work because I became severely depressed. So yay, mental health is a real important thing. So I dropped out from 2 boards of directors I was a member of, took that step back, and it was a good time, honestly. 2023, we were still coming back from the pandemic. My small child was becoming less baby, more child by that point. Child was born in 2019.
Okay.
We're like, okay, RSV bubble, and then it was like entire world pandemic bubble.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I'll start booking conferences again. It was March 2020. Joke was on me coming back from maternity leave.
Yes.
So chaos, career, burned out 2023. And husband said, why don't you take a sabbatical and write a book? You've always wanted to.
I love that support so much. That just makes my heart so happy.
He is the best person I've ever met. And I was married to an incredible person before him who was not the correct husband for me. So I very thoroughly value correct partnership because
Absolutely.
support in the right way for who you are is everything.
Absolutely.
So husband said, why don't you take a sabbatical this summer and write a book? And I said, okay.
You're like, twist my arm, I guess.
And up until then, I had had difficulty writing long form. I've written and published short stories, poetry. I was an editor on a high school literary magazine and published a lot there. I was the featured author in my college publication.
Okay.
So First Circle 2007, I was our featured author at Muskingum.
Wow.
I was an honorable mention for a poem in a Southern Ohio regional Appalachian kind of poetry and short story anthology.
Very cool.
Cheers.
So did your writing kind of start in like high school before then?
Before that, I'm still salty toward my 6th grade teacher who told me the murder and the murder mystery I wrote wasn't necessary. I was like, but no, it's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
It's a murder mystery.
Right?
I haven't forgotten. I've not forgotten. But I was learning. It was 6th grade. I was busy being 11.
Right.
And we are always learning how to write, right? So that was a longer form story, which was my weak point for the longest time. It was very much my Achilles heel. So I was short stories, I was poetry, I was flash fiction, it was all these things. And honestly, in high school, I wrote fan fiction. Some of it got a little popular back on the day on fanfiction.net, because again, I'm old. But that taught me to write longer things and to pace myself and to work through fanfiction.net. It was really like your readers are also your beta readers. You get very instant feedback through all those comments. And I was 15, so that was what I had. And early internet, it was dial-up modem. And it was formative. It was in my writing career moments. Gained craft in college a lot, went through workshops and a writing retreat and never stopped. But when I took the sabbatical in 2023, I was like, okay, novel time. We're going to do it. We're going to do this thing that I've never been able to do.
Sure.
And you know what I just did? I started writing in a way that made sense for me. And so the original full draft of what is now my book that is publishing just over 2 months from when we're talking, it looks so different from the thing that is now book shaped. And it taught me so much because I wrote chapter, vignette, because the way that the story started forming had this really esoteric basis. And it was like, what if we combine the Sabbaths of the Wheel of the Year, and there are 8, but what if they each combine? Kind of in a mathematical factorial, right? So there are 28 if you combine each of the 8 to each of the 8 one time. So that brings us to 28 things. What if you bring together this equinox and this equinox, or this equinox and the solstice, or, so I became very familiar with the Wheel of the Year, this very well-known kind of tradition throughout paganism, largely European-based. But my husband kind of had the base idea, and he was like, what if connecting these Sabbaths was what turned the Wheel of the Year? And I was like, okay, but then what if there were witches, and what if then there were queens who wanted to burn them, and there was a matriarchal world, and there was all of this power, and then there were also these cats, and he was like, okay, so why don't you go write that? So I did.
Okay. I love
And then I was like, okay, well, I finished a novel. Now, obviously, I try to publish it. immediately. That's not how it works best. It does work that way for some people, and good on them. But I tried too early because I had a finished draft. And I tried querying agents because I wanted to pursue traditional publication. I was like, I'm great at research. I've worked all of these careers in research. I'll look up how to do this. You query an agent. You send them the first bit of manuscript. They request more. They sign you. Then they peddle your work out to Big Five and all of these publishers, and they know what's going on. And I was like, this will be great. It's hard, but I'm very good at what I do. That went poorly. That went very poorly. And so then after a failed round in which I got one full request from a stunning agent who is still a dream professional I'd love to work with one day, I hired a developmental editor. And by this point I'd also written book 2 because I always knew it was a series. So I sent him both manuscripts and said, do the developmental edit on the one you think would be better positioned as book 1, and read the other one so you know where the story is going. And he was like, so we work with a lot of flashbacks, we do this and that. Why would we see them in flashbacks? Can we just see it happen? And I was like, well, that makes sense. And maybe not everyone lives in my head, and maybe readers aren't also me, who are very in the weeds with this, again, very esoteric concept. But then it turns out readers want a story they can just sit down and read and enjoy.
Sure.
And that was not what I had. I had an experience. I had maybe something a college student would write a paper on. But it wasn't something you would just sit down and be like, I'm going to read this story about witches.
Yeah.
So I owe a lot to Joel Brigham, who was a remarkable independent developmental editor I worked with. He was just stunningly helpful, very kind, and his insights broke my spirit and fixed my words. So everything was just, it was everything it needed to be for where I was in the process. So I rewrote it. And then I started querying again, and then I wrote another book that was completely different. I wrote a comedy horror.
Okay.
That was contemporary.
I was going to say, that is very different.
So I was like, I need to get my head out of this so I don't keep poking it, because I wrote book 1, book 2, started into book 3, and knew that I would need some more work on that. And then I was like, what if I focus on a different thing so I don't keep poking this while I'm trying to make it happen?
Yes.
And so I wrote a comedy horror, which will now be a very hard sell because I wrote it in 2024.
Okay.
And the world has changed since then.
Sure.
And I myself am very political, and will say lightly, I do not agree with the current administration. And it would be very difficult for the story I wrote in 2024, set in 2024, to happen in a subsequent year, because it's very gay, and the 4 main characters are very active in a lot of politics and political scenes. And it was such a fun premise, and I love the story, and I do want to do something with it one day. It will just need to be, again, totally redone.
Sure.
Because it's basically, what if a bunch of twihards, elder millennial twihards who loved Twilight, what if they go to Forks and learn there that vampires are real?
Oh, I love that idea. And I will say, Leah would love that because she loves Twilight. Like, we have talked about, she wants to go to Washington. She's like, we are going to Forks and we are gonna go do all these things. So Leah would love it.
I come too.
Yeah.
In my office, I absolutely have the entire Cullen house built out of Lego that I built while on a getaway for our 10th anniversary.
That is fantastic.
My husband was sick in the treehouse we stayed at. Our child was still also sick and kind of running around the treehouse. We brought our dog, and I'm just at this table, like clacking the Cullen house Lego for an entire day.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But I changed it a little bit to be not an IP ripoff, not Cullens, not Twilight, not vampires. So in World, it was this book about Northeast Ohio and shadow people. Okay. So I used a lot more of the local folklore. And what if people came to Rayfield, Ohio and learned that shadow people were real. But that was such a fun book, and I love it, and it is sitting on my hard drive.
Love it.
For a while, because then I was pitching, I was querying, and then I started submitting to independent presses, because I was like, you know what, this first book I wrote, This Wheel of the Year, these witches, that's my heart. And a lot of the knowledge for debut authors and aspiring authors is that you have to shelve a lot of books.
Okay.
And you query it, it dies querying. Or you query it, you get an agent, and then they submit it, and it dies on submission.
Okay.
So you shelve it and work on the next thing. And I tried that with the Shadows book. And I have it, and I love it, but the witches are my heart.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is good. It needs the right champion to take it forward, and I'm not letting it die. So I didn't. I kept going, and I was like, what if it's not an agent? I don't want to self-publish. I am friends with several incredible, successful, brilliant self-published authors who I admire to hell and back. And Chelsea Banning has made a remarkable go of it. She went viral, and her Arthurian tales are just doing amazing, and I love everything she does with them. Melody Chu put out Maddie Girls last year, 2025, and it is stunningly good. And I don't want to do that because I've already started a business, and self-publishing is an entire business. It is formatting, it is doing the cover, it is selling it, it is ISBN. And I was like, I also need someone to bounce it with, right? Like I need another editor. Joel Brigham was so good as a developmental editor. I was like, I need then the editor who's taking it to publication, who's not just helping me reformat, rechange, completely restructure this book, but someone who's going to get it that for publication. So I was like, this is as far as I can mold this clay without direction. Like I need that professional insight, and I need that partner who believes in it like I do.
Yeah.
And for me, that was vital. And because I have formed an LLC, I've done the taxes, I've done these things, I didn't want to.
I mean, I don't blame you.
I am so in awe of everyone who does, and I didn't want to, as a personal choice. And it's like, you know what, maybe I don't have to do everything, but I want some creative control. I come back to my husband a lot because he's the most important person in my life, but he learned by our second date, like, I drive. Our child knows, Mama drives.
Yeah.
My own mother knows, Sarah drives. Like, I have control tendencies. It's not fully type A, but it's not. So eventually, while I was looking at agents and others and publishers who accept direct submissions without an agent, I was like, what about small presses? So I found some remarkable ones. And here I could really focus on the ethics of it and find people who aligned with what I do. Because also things have changed even since 2023, 2024 when I started this, because AI is changing things and we can't pretend it's not. So I needed people with who I aligned with as a vision for my book, as a vision ethically and in the world. And so I created the short list, and it's a lot of spreadsheets. But here and back again, A Hobbit's Journey, we find cutting all of that so short, which I know it's not, and I've been talking a while, but this is several years of work.
Right.
But I did sign in April of 2025 with Quills and Cosmos Press, based out of Fort Collins, Colorado. And Megan Friedman founded it as a place to publish science fiction and fantasy titles specifically written by women, BIPOC authors, LGBTQ authors, and other historically underrepresented authors in these genres. And so I was like, that sounds great. Because the other big part of my professional background is working in DEI. So I did head diversity, equity, and inclusion, a nonprofit called Women in 3D Printing. All of these things are very important to me. And so finding a publisher who that resonated with, I was like, I need to submit here. And so I got a revise and resubmit from them, which is not a yes, but it's not a no. This is almost there, but if you can adjust some of this, I can see how you take edits and if this can more closely fit the vision of what my publication is looking for.
Sure.
And so during a writing retreat called Words in the Woods that Melissa Vincel put together with some incredible local authors, we went together to Cuyahoga Valley National Park.
Nice.
And I worked on this revise and resubmit. And the last day of the retreat, I submitted it again to Quills and Cosmos, and I was like, here is this with the first part of this 4-part book manuscript at that point reimagined and sent, and then she signed me, and that was delightful.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So then it started that next long road, because then we did developmental edits, but then also the exciting stuff we found a cover and hired the cover designer, and she ran this contest, so I got to see all of these incredible visions that designers had for it, because again, I had a series in mind.
Yes.
And it was important to me also to sign with a publisher who shared that vision and wanted a series, not a standalone, not this or that. And so we had these cover designers coming in with these like cool things, and they also had like book one. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is happening.
Did that feel more real at that point when you were looking at covers?
It did. It was the coolest thing to see in my inbox since like the invitation to the call. And I was like, you know, I've never been so excited about Zoom. And so when we started really narrowing it down, and then we're like, okay, well, we love this, but what if we adjust this or this or this? And this designer, Wolfbell8, is his screen name. He's out of Slovenia, and entered through this design contest. Was just remarkable, and he would take the feedback. He went through my author Instagram, which is Sarah Goehrke Writes. He went through all of those things and looked at color palettes I used, looked at what I was using for inspiration. And he took the time to do the research and sent this awesome thing. And then, because I am the driver, I was like, but what if she was holding her magic? And what if it was gray? And what if, and what if, and what if? And then he kind of came up with the perfect cover.
There it is. So tell us more about this book.
So my book is The Keepers. It is book one of the Turner's saga. It's a matriarchal world featuring magic in lands run by queens, and magic is not trusted. It is there, but it's a power that rulers, that these queens who rule over these 5 cardinal lands, they don't understand it because they do not have magic. And so there's this thought of magic turns the wheel of the year. But there's also earth magic and people who are more grounded in the way they use their magic. So there are these covens of the grounded near every capital where these queens rule. And they heal, they help crops, they do all of the things you need to survive. And can do all of these things, but then the witches are always sitting right behind them like, well, could they use it as a weapon? Because they use it to unseat me. And Queen Daphne of Sanvera nearly dies in childbirth. And she knows witchery was involved in that. And so she says, witches almost killed me. And I know I heard magic in the room. My witch speaker could see magic. We have it confirmed. There was magic in this room where I nearly died. My mother died in childbirth. Her mother died in childbirth. With mine, we have confirmation of this magic bad. Mm-hmm. She calls the other queens to her, the other rulers, and one of the queens of the east, her land has a plague, and she's like, the witches won't help us. They keep saying they need more time to figure out what's going on with this plague. Mm-hmm. The queen of the south is like, no, we definitely don't trust them. Let's do war right now. Let's just do war. Let's burn them. Let's go. The queen of the west is like, I'm not coming. Tell my envoy he'll listen. And in the north, the queen died, and she only had a son. So her son, Prince Kingsley, is just like, I don't know. And everyone's like, are they going to trust a boy to rule? I don't know. But he's listening to his general, and she's really smart. So they all kind of come together and have this conclave. And this does happen later in the book, but it's also the premise of it, because book one sets up the burning times, because historically societies burn witches. Mm-hmm. And why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that in the matriarchal world? Why would they do that here? What's going on? And so when misunderstandings compound and people are feeling wrong-footed about power imbalance, it doesn't go well. Mm-hmm. And the witches are not going to sit back and take that, because why would you? If people are going to just go ahead and burn you at the stake, you know, what if no?
What if we not?
What if they don't? What if no, please? So then, book two, we get into what it's like during these burning times.
Okay.
How are witches fighting back? How are queens approaching that? Who's on whose side? Where do loyalties actually lie? So my publisher started calling it Game of Thrones, but with women. Because we get very in the weeds about these politics and how magic works and where alliances are and all of the subterfuge and facades and who's trusting who shouldn't trust who, what's going on.
Sure.
But then there's still this wheel of the year, right? And the wheel must turn. But what if the wheel's broken? So like we're all fighting this war on the ground, but something bigger is happening. So we've got these layers of different players and different levels of magic and these things that fate itself calls for sacrifice. But what if somebody's like, well, this woman shouldn't die in childbirth, I'm going to save her. But what if that woman is the queen? So it is messy and layered, and we've got a lot of characters, and blessedly I do include an appendix. I don't hate my readers, so you can flip right to the back and see who they are at any point.
I love those.
So we can just very quickly be like, who was that?
Right.
They were mentioned several chapters ago, and there are 4 points of view in this book, and I'm lost. Please don't be. I will help you.
And I think that's a really nice thing for especially those big fantasy or science fiction books when you have so many characters and a different magic system in different territories and realms, and it's really nice to have a cheat sheet. Like I was calling it a cheat sheet. I'm like, okay, who are you? You belong here and you belong here, and so I love that.
Yes.
So do you have a favorite character that you wrote about?
It all started with Alaris.
Okay.
And she is going to be our main thread who carries us through.
Okay.
Because the problem, I'm going to use the problem word. With the Turner saga, it's a saga. It is fully generational. By book 5, we'll be about 3 generations deep into this conflict and drawing back about 5 more generations because time in one part of this cosmic magic works differently. And so it's not exactly in sync with the rest of the world, so we get a couple
there's different
hundred.
timelines happening at once?
Yes and no.
Okay. You're like, you just have to read it to
You
find
do.
out.
You do. You do. And it does cover generations, but Alaris is kind of our main girl. It started with her. And so we say that when Alaris finally accepts her magic in a land where magic is not cared for, but when she finally accepts her witchery, she will change more fates than only her own.
Oh, I love that.
And so book 1, we have 4 points of view. We have Alaris. We have Queen Daphne.
Okay.
You can see there are 3 witches down here who are bringing Alaris to the otherworldly coven of the Keepers.
Okay.
And so we also gain the perspective of Iris, who is the crone of crones, the eldest of those 9 witches.
Okay.
So she's well over 100 years old, the most experienced crone of this coven that is tasked with turning the wheel of the year. And early on, we also get Alaris's adopted sister, Cora.
Okay.
Because Alaris is orphaned when she's very young and adopted into the Orcharder family, who raise her to believe that she must be normal.
So really just like suppressing who she is.
Right.
Okay.
So witchery is not normal, be normal. Take the silver out of your eyes, do not try to make funny things happen, and just be normal. And Cora is profoundly normal.
Okay.
And she is profoundly ambitious.
Okay.
And so she is the first daughter of the Orcharder family. She is the heir. Alaris is her younger adoptive sister, and they grow up as sisters do. And we start when their mother is celebrating Alaris's ascent into womanhood. So, oh my gosh, it's a book about girls and we talk about periods. How historically accurate of us. Because that really does mark womanhood, especially in a matriarchal society where it's like now you can do things that women can do. And so when Alaris is officially by body a woman, their mother, Cordelia, decides to go on a journey to get some of the best wine in all of the lands and open some more trade routes for them. And she pieces out, leaving Cora in charge of the orchards.
Okay.
And Cora, in short order, breaks her arm and goes septic and nearly dies.
Oh my goodness.
And the local healer, of course, has taken a break, so she's out, so they have to seek witches for healing. And that gets us started because Alaris gets to see some very powerful witches heal her sister's arm within the space of a couple of hours. And then when she receives her calling sometime and some plot points later, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be one of them. I can't believe it. And she's not. She has more power than that sort.
Okay.
So.
Very cool. I think it'll be interesting. I'm super excited to read it, but I think seeing the two sisters' relationship once she gets to that point of fully accepting her power, I think that's going to be a really cool dynamic.
I cried writing it. I am the youngest of 4 sisters.
Okay.
2 of us grew up together, 2 are older. So I very much vibe with that younger sister dynamic and that moment of like, I can't be everything that you thought I might be. And so Alaris is my girl, and because I myself am an especially tall woman, I'm 6'1" in real life, I will always write a tall FMC. I just will. And so Alaris is very tall because dadgummit, why wouldn't she be?
Right?
And she has my heart because she is learning. We meet her when she's 13 at the start. This book goes through her mid-20s, give or take. But again, time works weirdly through all of this. Daphne's in her 30s for most of the time we know her. Okay. Iris is a centennial, or is about 2 years older than Alaris to start. It gets wibbly wobbly once Alaris steps out of time.
Okay.
You'll have that.
Fair. It just happens. It's fine.
Have that. Time is what it is. It does what it does. And we don't need to know all of that.
Yeah. So because obviously we've got more books coming, but with this one, The Keepers, what is one sort of message or feeling that you really want authors to, like when they finish that book, you want them to be feeling XYZ?
I really want readers to be feeling introspective, kind of consider what you would do for what you feel is right, because we have these mandates, right? Be normal, the wheel must turn. We have these things that are just accepted absolutes, but what if someone's dying? Are you normal then, or do you use this power you know you have within yourself to save their life? What if someone needs help? What if? And so there are all of these things that those absolutes kind of don't account for. Sure. And some people will accept that, and some people consider that an opening. And so I would like people to be kind of considering where they stand. And again, with DEI so entrenched in my background, my studies, my work, and it being 2026, life is political, books are political. So like, where do you stand? What are you going to do? And when somebody is saying something you can't agree with, do you speak up? Do you not? Do you other yourself? Do you choose to be a weirdo? Like, what do you believe in, and what will you do for that belief? And also, do you like cats?
That is important. We talk about this that Leah and I are vet techs, so that is an important question.
The witches of the world have familiars, and these cats come into play everywhere. My co-author is a cat. Ice Cream the Office Cat appears everywhere, including across my keyboard, so any typos are her fault.
I feel like it's just her little contribution to the book.
And so she gets cameos. She is Milkweed the Familiar. So we'll see her in the Coven of the Grounded. I have 4 cats right now, and one of our late cats is also seen. So I'm absolutely writing my own cats into this book.
As you should.
And pre-orders have been going on right now. They are open for 4 more days as of the time that we're talking.
Wonderful.
So every pre-order of this book will also come with a free bonus novella that goes into some side characters we meet in here. And Alaris will belong to the Coven of the Keepers. But there's also the Coven of the Grounded, who everyone's much more familiar with in these worlds.
Okay.
And they're who heal Cora's arm. They're who the Queen Daphne will turn to for everything she needs. And they're the ones with the cats.
Okay.
And so in the book, we meet Gerard, we hear about Lace, and so this bonus novella, The Potioneer, is Lace's story. And what is it like to be a witch in the Coven of the Grounded? And that one, I don't write romance. That one turned into a romantasy. Whoops.
It's all right.
And also it completely gutted me and ripped my heart out.
In a good way? Oh no, guys. Am I also going to be emotionally damaged?
It depends what order you read things in.
Okay.
So if you read The Potioneer on its own, you'll think, what a lovely story.
But if I read The Keepers first and then...
Tell me so I stay out of range for whatever you're going to throw at me. Because I will deserve it.
Okay. I will say I do love being emotionally damaged by books. Like, I want my heart ripped out and I'm sobbing. So I am, and I know it sounds weird, but like, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also like, really? So you might get an email from me and be like, Sarah, are you kidding me?
I made myself cry, so...
Oh, gosh, okay. I'll just have tissues. It'll be fine.
We're writing about witch burnings. People are going to have a bad time.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bad time. I worked with a really incredible artist for some character art, Christina Gehrman, who is a deaf German artist who created some of the most stunning art I've ever seen, and I knew I needed her. So she has done portraits of my 4 POV characters for this book.
Cool.
But when I described Iris to her, I was like, she is over 100 years old and someone who at this point in her life is always in mourning. So I need her to be carrying this very visible weight.
Yeah.
Because she is full of joy and magic and power and sisterhood, and she has lost everyone she's ever known. By the time her life eventually will come to an end in the course of this series, time doesn't move like it does in the world for where she's living. So
She's had a long time of just that mourning and sadness and
just when every single person she's ever known, every witch in the coven older than her who was there from her first day, because the Coven of the Keepers, they come in as a maiden. There are 3 maidens, 3 matrons, 3 crones. And as the Crone of Crones passes on to her next life, everyone kind of moves up a stage in that, and then they call the newest Maiden of Maidens. So when Alaris is called to the coven, it's because the former Crone of Crones has passed and Iris ascends to that title.
okay.
She is forever in mourning. So when I was talking to my artist about these characters, I was like, she is someone who not only has known loss, but at this point, all she knows is loss.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm here to rip everyone's hearts out. I've told my publisher my goals include having the book thrown across the room, getting angry messages, DMs, emails. She said that she's going to have to look into how to make books sturdier, if that's my goal. And I'm like, that sounds like a you problem.
Right.
Which she loves it when I say that. But that's why I didn't want to look into my own binding and all of that.
Oh my goodness. Well, friends, we have a lot of emotional damage to look forward to. It's just fantastic. So, where you mentioned pre-orders are open for a few more days.
Yes.
When, like, what's the final steps before fully being out in the world?
So it's out with ARC readers right now. This is an ARC. It is an advanced reader copy, so this is what it will look like. This is not final. We've got nice notes in here that it's not final. This is pre-copy edit even. So we've gone through copy edits at this point. It's with the proofreader right now. We're finalizing, we're formatting. Through pre-orders, you can also get exclusive hardback editions and one with fancy edges that have some cats being scamps.
You know,
and some more castle
I'm a
action.
sucker for painted edges.
It's pretty, it is. And I picked green to match this. The same designer who did the cover did the edge design.
Love that.
Book 2 will be red where this one's green. So then
Okay.
those edges will be red when we do that fancy
That'd be
edition.
so nice.
But pre-orders close through the Kickstarter that my publisher is running on April 14th, which is this coming Tuesday from the time of this chat. And then the book publishes June 16th. It
getting
will be,
close.
I know. I will not be the only person in the world holding this. I will be having a launch party. We haven't even announced it yet, but I feel like I could tell you that the Viridian Bookshop in downtown Willoughby is hosting my launch party on Saturday, June 20th from 1 to 3 p.m. And fellow Ohio author Chelsea Banning will be my conversation partner.
Fantastic.
So you will be able to also pre-order through the Viridian and pick up at the launch party or whenever. I'm
Will
talking
you have
to other
copies
ones.
there for sale, or is
Yes.
it only pre-order?
We will also have copies. I did sign the contract with Viridian, so my book will be on their local author shelves.
That's
which is
so
exciting. And I'm in talks with a couple of other area bookshops. We are in one right now where I hope to see the Keepers on their shelves, but the Viridian at this point is the only local contract I've signed. But I am open and available for other bookshops and to do signings, to do author events. I will be doing Lore and Legends Fest 2027. The Enchanted Realm Company is hosting their inaugural Lore and Legends Fest. And I will hopefully by that point, August 2027, have 2 books to bring there, but I am confirmed as an attending author. So that's one of the ones I can talk about. I will be at North Coast Indie Author Fest this August in Yvonne. I was working on my events page today. Can you tell? Tomorrow, so this is too early, but still a shout out to Cleveland author Jennifer Mangela, whose debut fantasy novel, The Geomagician, came out with Del Rey from Penguin Random House March 31st. So tomorrow, April 11th, I will be in Parma with her as her conversation partner to talk about all things Geomagician. Excellent book. I finished it yesterday. I rated it 5 stars, and it deserved every one. It was so good. But I will be going around to all of these indie bookshops because as a small press indie author, it's a lot of figuring it out, running around, and the nice thing about doing small press is I can actually talk to people.
Yeah.
And be like, hi, I'm Sarah, not just like, hey, I'm this person with a big 5 who will be like behind the screen. And like, no, I am a local, fun, human person who is here to talk to you about witches and cats and queens and matriarchy. Oh my.
And who doesn't want to talk about those? I mean, come on. So I was going to ask you, before we wrap up here, is what are the best ways for readers to support you, support other indie authors? Because that's one thing that Leah and I really want to put a big focus on with our channel. We'll still talk about popular books because we love those too, but we also really want to support indie authors because all authors, but everybody just puts their blood, sweat, and tears into these things, and we want to help just get the word out.
It's true, and conveniently, April is Indie Author Month, so we love that.
Great.
And the best way to support indie authors is always word of mouth. Talk about it, recommend these books to your friends, leave a review, they help so much. As of right now, The Keepers has 8 reviews on Goodreads.
That is fantastic.
And they're all 4 and 5 stars, which is delightful.
That's
my bubble has
amazing.
not been popped yet. And my husband is queued up to read reviews so that I don't hurt my own feelings.
Good.
Because this is not for everyone, and I know that. It is literary fantasy, it's epic fantasy. It's convoluted, it's messy. I already had an ARC reader DM me that she wasn't going to finish, and that's okay, but I didn't need to know that.
Right.
If it's not for you, buy it and give it to a friend. Maybe it's for them. If it's really not for you, buy it and give it to an enemy.
Really, just give it to somebody.
It's true. Any of that really supports us. The best support is going through the publisher. So for pre-orders, that's why we do the Kickstarter. It really helps my small press to get its feet under it. I will be the 4th book out from Quills and Cosmos.
Very cool.
Which is incredible. The first 3 books have all been phenomenal. I've supported them all. The Ice Moves for No One by R.L.O. Z. Graves was the first. It's incredible. Lesbian selkies on skyships. Like Sky Vikings. Who doesn't want that? Chronic Illness
really
Rep.
cool.
It's so good. Book 2 is officially coming, I think late this year, and I can't wait. And there's a character that the author Sven calls Shotgun Otter, and I can't wait to meet him because selkies are just such a very cool part of mythology that we have, and then, you know, that but make it diesel punk. And it's so cool, and Shotgun Otter wears a zoot suit, and Sven just got a zoot suit, and like, ugh, they're so cool. But then there was Beyond the Border Forest by Molly Hanaszewski. Incredible read. It's a queer retelling of Rose Red, and it's this cozy, stunning story set with this magical border forest and this character who's just really figuring herself out. And so then as Rowan goes through the forest, she has these adventures, learns about the Oak King and the Holly King, who each rule the forest for half the year.
Okay.
And bad guys, good guys, sentient moss. so amazing. It just goes in these places you don't expect, and I fell in love every page. And then Bethany Tapp, her book is actually coming out May 5th. And I was an ARC reader, and I backed her Kickstarter, so I actually got her final book early.
Very cool.
So I have 2 copies of her book right now. When Everything Was Fresh and Green is an urban fantasy set in Michigan.
Okay.
So it's very cool. Like, as a Clevelander, I love knowing Grand Rapids a little bit, you know, and like understanding what's going on here in this world with found family and magic and anti-magic. And it's just this wild premise with all of these different kinds of creatures. There's like 3-year-old werewolf twins and just all of these like ogre, and then there's like just all of the creatures are so cool, and you're just immediately pulled in. And our protagonist is a middle-aged foster mom, and she discovers she discovers magic through her foster kids. And I cried, I hugged the book. And when I'm at North Coast Indies in September, I will be sharing a table with Bethany, which will be the first time we meet in person.
Oh, I love that.
And we're also doing a road trip in July. No, July will be the first time I meet her. We're going out to an indie bookshop in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Because Bethany and her wife and their kids will be on the way to DC, where Bethany will be an attending author at another convention, but Pittsburgh's on the way, so I'm like, I'll meet you there.
Right.
Let's go do the signing together. And then Quills and Cosmos just signed a brand new author, so I'm really excited to read her book eventually.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the first sci-fi book from Quills and Cosmos.
Okay.
Erin Mason is the author, title TBD right now, but I've chatted with Erin a little bit. She's super cool. She's based in Florida. She's a lawyer, and her book sounds so good. But the way to support indie authors is by talking about them and reading their books, supporting them, asking bookshops that are local, like, hey, do you carry this book? Can you order it for me?
Okay.
Ordering books from bookshop.org instead of Jeff Bezos. And if you have to order from that guy, do it. Like, I'm not going to stop you,
right.
But it will not be the best way to support. Borrow from the library, request at the library. Local libraries are the best resource, and every time anyone requests a book from the library or for Libby, the library will, purchase these books from these indie publishers, these indie authors, and that's hugely helpful. Like, if you don't have $16.99 to buy a paperback, I don't expect you to.
Yeah, but it's
Ask
nice
your library.
to know. Yeah, it's nice to know that borrowing it from the library is still in a way supporting.
It's directly supporting.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. Like, I've seen Ben and Molly go into their local libraries, and they're across the country, so I'm just keeping up with them online. But whenever either of them see their book in a library, or somebody sends a picture, or these self-published authors, like, seeing your book in the library is like the thing.
Yeah.
Because libraries are so hugely important to all of our local communities and do so much. And so bringing indie authors' books into libraries is the greatest thing.
Yeah, well, that is great. I didn't even know that. I love that.
Request at indie bookshops, request at libraries. Just request, and we can hopefully see distribution keep picking up and more placements, and all of this really helps. But the biggest thing is always just talk about it, share it, do a review. It's 2026. Our lives are ruled by algorithms.
Yes.
So if you review a book, it gets pushed up in the algorithm because people are reading the book. If an indie author has their books on Kindle Unlimited or something like that, page views count. So just help metrics. It's so dumb, and we hate adding numbers and quantifying creativity. But especially every bit helps so much. And like with my books, and I suggested it to everyone at my publisher, I got it certified through the Authors Guild as human authored.
Okay.
So that certifies that I used less than 5% generative AI in any stage of developing this book, and I used exactly 0% personally.
Which is important to people.
It's very,
especially I feel like right now people are very much like trying to sort through what's AI, even like music and
Right.
books and art, and it's insane. So that's nice.
And so really knowing you're supporting humans and being human about all of it. Like art is human, storytelling is the oldest thing that humanity has together. And so, like, check that something is human authored, look for these people. We're all weird on Threads together. That's my preferred social media platform. I'm on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, but Threads is my favorite because we just get weird. And it's delightful because we're all just so authentic. But you will find everybody just talking about AI and these implications and what it's doing to publishing and art.
Well, we'll definitely link because we have an Instagram and a Facebook, so we'll tag you in those. And then you have a website as well, right?
I do. It is myname.com. It's very hard to spell.
And we'll link that in the description as well, so you can go and check out her stuff too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hopping on here with me. And I'm excited to read your book. I'm here for it.
If you never hear from me again, she hated it.
Oh, no. I don't think I will.
If you do, just don't tell me. Just give it to someone you hate.
Right, I'll just shove it in somebody's locker at work and be like, here, read this. All right, well. So feel free to comment below, especially when, I'm not going to say if you read it, when you read it. Comment and let us know how you like it. And then, as always, feel free to subscribe if you want to follow along on our nonsense journey that we go on. But we will chat with you guys later. Bye.